good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded on Saturday, June 7th, 2025, and then posted to all media platforms on Sunday, June 8th, 2025. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please just take out a moment to subscribe to the channel. Would love to have you as part of the overall group that we have here every week. And when you subscribe to the channel, it greatly helps moving towards what we call certification of the channel. So thanks very much for all of your support in those areas. If you'd like to join our Platinum membership group on YouTube, it's very easy to do. There's a join button on the front page of the YouTube channel, as well as our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Provides access to hundreds of videos that are exclusive to members, including lots of instructional videos, as well as the live streams that I conduct every Friday, where we answer just a plethora of questions. So great to have everybody back on the channel. If you're new very quickly to the channel, we garner questions from our YouTube channel, the post section. Every Monday, my office puts out a request for questions. I think this week we had somewhere between 500, 600 questions. My wife then goes through them, brings up a representative sample, then I answer them for you here real time on these shows. I think today we have 74 questions to go through. So without any further delay, let's get going on today's show. Question 74 in the countdown. Hello, Sterling and team. Today, EM, in some sense, confessed about his election interference. EM said directly that without his help, 45 would have lost the presidential election. Republicans would have lost the House, but Republicans would have kept the Senate 51 to 49. Is there any truth in EM's comments? So absolutely, this is all part of the smoking gun, part of the AIMS strategy that my team called out starting back in November of 2024, the overall election electronic interference that went on with a data center provider and a satellite services provider. And so really what EM is doing is referring to the smoking gun, and there's more and more evidence going to be coming out here very, very shortly. 73. Is it possible EM is trying to get ahead of whatever specific anonymous announcement is coming in the next few weeks? Is it possible EM goes to a country where he feels safe and brings it all out so he can control the narrative? Yes, absolutely. I already see he's in discussions with many offshore countries, including Russia, Saudi Arabia, other parts of the Middle East, even Qatar. But yes, there's actually negotiations and planning being done so that he'll have a safe platform or a safe country to kind of really release all the information that he has. 72. Hi, Sterling and Linda. Russia is building multiple military bases near the border of Finland. What are Putin's intentions? Will he invade Finland? It does appear he is actually going to try to start a conflict with Finland to try to engage NATO, but this is all part of like a larger negotiation whereby Putin is trying to get actually like Crimea released to Russia. And I've talked about this before. My team's talked about 8% of kind of the ground area around Ukraine as part of the negotiation on peace will end up going over to Russia. So it does appear he's trying to spark or push forward negotiations and use that as a leveraging tool. 71. Why do some people have near-death experiences or NDEs and others do not? And why would a person experience multiple NDEs in their lifetime? So this is all part of a designed life path. And usually it's old souls that enter into NDE experiences. The reason that they do that or agree to do that down here is that it's bringing the narrative forward that life goes on, there is no death. So that's the most meaningful way for sometimes a lot of humanity to understand that life goes on. When you have a near-death experience, then you bring that information back, you share it with the world through events or books you write, but it's all part of your life path. You agreed to get the messaging out there to humanity, in effect, that there is no death, that life goes on. 70. It was announced 45 has tapped Palantir to create a database to track every American. Will this come to pass? Yes, and I get this is already nearly completed, and it's going to aggregate a lot of information on behalf of the IRS and medical records and immigration records. And yes, this database will be moving forward, and I get from my team it's nearly complete. 69. What is in the mesa at Skinwalker Ranch in Utah? And what is the invisible dome above the triangle area in the ranch? So I've talked about this before in these shows, but at Skinwalker Ranch in northern Utah is one of the largest portals here on Earth. It's several hundred feet tall. It actually stands over a lot of the triangle area. Actually, in addition, in the mesa is a spaceship. It's actually a nuclear power device that was placed there to support energy requirements for the portal. So this is all connected, okay? And actually there's many more smaller portals on the Skinwalker Ranch area around physical structures. 68. Full travel bans from 12 countries were announced on Wednesday of this week, and a total ban on foreign students for Harvard. When will the ban stop? By the middle of 2026, they'll be retracted. 67. How do you know if you have a sole contract with a pet? Does the pet act different than the other ones? No, everything that comes into your life path is part of your life path blueprint. That's people, pets, animals. Remember, animals come from the angelic realm. They're here to teach you important lessons of the heart. And in fact, if you have animals in your life, they're already predestined, pre-planned, is part of their life path plan as well. So nothing's going to tip you off per se, other than the, let's say, divine, wonderful connection you're going to have with the animal and the heartfelt lessons you're going to get from that unconditional love experience. 66. I was wondering, why are there so many of us that suffer from claustrophobia right now in the population? My team's saying that people are increasingly feeling a loss of control in their lives. And so the fact of being confined to a space that you may not be able to escape, even like an elevator, is something that people feel a loss of control. It's a heightened feeling of loss of control in society that's hiding that claustrophobic experience. Again, not a doctor. 65. Do you see hydrogen vehicles being used for transportation in the near future? Not in the long run. So hydrogen-powered transportation vehicles will go by the wayside, and we will see major advances in EVs, electric vehicles, new battery technology, brand new charging sources. So EVs or electric vehicles will be the future. Hydrogen-powered transportation will actually end up going by the wayside. 64. In today's news, I just read an article that described how CRISPR technology was used to eliminate HIV from human cells. Can your guides tell us more about this and its future? Will this be a successful treatment to eradicate HIV? Yes, so CRISPR or gene editing technology has already been used to eradicate certain viruses, very successful tests on certain mice. And within 10-year period here, by the year 2035, you're going to see a lot of developments in this area. But yes, for a number of viruses, CRISPR or genetic engineering technology will be used to successfully start to eradicate that. 63. Just as predicted, Sterling, Abrego Garcia was returned to the U.S. and is now facing charges of being dangerous to society and trafficking undocumented immigrants. Is this just a ploy to defend the 45 administration's behavior of not bringing him back to the U.S. and to make the statement that he was a criminal all along? Yes, this is a smokescreen developed by the 45 administration, and actually it looks to me like he'll be proven innocent of those charges. And even though it looks like they're saying they're going to deport him again, for some reason, I see some success in that area for Mr. Garcia being able to stay in the U.S. 62, hello, Sterling and team. I was wondering if this is one of the Claires when you make references to something and that it shows up in some way that day. A good example is that I was talking to my sister about a movie called Indian in the Cupboard, from when we were kids. And a couple of hours later, she found the little toy that came with the movie at a yard sale. Yes, so this is like a subcomponent of the claircognizant gift. Now, claircognizance is like a knowingness, and what you're referring to here is precognition. So it's kind of a subset in some ways of the claircognizant gift, but it's a very specific gift. So this is precognition, and it's a wonderful thing to have because you really do have kind of advanced notice of major events. If you work to develop that clair, it's very helpful for humanity. 61, do you see Kamala Harris as interim president and Tim Walz as interim vice president in the White House in 2025? No, I don't. There's going to be an interim group actually managing or controlling government, an interim group of congressmen and individuals. This is going to be a very non-conventional period in history whereby a president will be moved for treason and impeached and lots of things going on with that. But remember, Kamala does not desire the role anymore. Be very straight about that. And this is all part of a free will decision, but there has to be a big push on her part to want to then step in and get into a lot of that chaos again. My team is saying she does not want to step into that role anymore. So it'll be an interim group guiding the government. 60. Hello, Sterling. It just came out this week. Rockland County in New York has been digging into the election of 2024, both presidential and Senate. They have possible proof from data of manipulation, and it's now with the New York Supreme Court, where the court ruled discovery must proceed. Smart Elections and Election Truth Alliance have been working on the data. Will this start the conversation in other states, districts, and is this just the beginning? Yes, this is all part of the overall investigation. This is actually part of the AIM strategy my spiritual team talked about many months ago. AIM standing for the analysis, investigation. M is for movement in the military, and S is for separation. This is all part of the ongoing I, or investigation stage, and very important, it will provide a pathway to many more states challenging the election auditing. 59. On June 24th, they will be electing a new top head of the Democratic Oversight Committee. Will AOC or Jasmine Crockett win this position? No, I see they're going to make a very good showing, but it does not look like they're actually going to end up, let's say, winning that particular Democratic Oversight Committee position. 58. Sterling, you have mentioned on occasions that we should embrace using AI technology because of its benefits. As an avid user, my concern is the environmental effects and current issues that AI is causing for locals who live near large data centers. Do your guides have any insights as to how we can continue using AI without causing damage to the planet and fellow citizens? So, artificial intelligence, or AI, will eventually develop into a very safe technology. Yes, there'll be safeguards. Yes, right now it consumes a lot of power. As we move forward with supercomputer technology, eventually we'll get to lower power consumption requirements. We'll also have access in a couple of decades here to cold fusion technology for power. So there's been evolution here. It's a process going forward. But eventually we'll have lower power consumption and better effects on the environment, like from cold fusion technology. 57. What is Palantir's going to do, or what is Palantir Corporation going to do with our data? So I think we touched on this before, but they are a data analytics company, and they've already made significant progress, whether the public understands or not, behind aggregating IRS data, medical information, insurance information, education information, immigration information. So this is all moving forward, and it's going to be a large database that many governmental institutions are going to lean on. 56. Is there any hope that ETs in 2025 will have the knowledge to help advance medicine and cure diseases and potentially offer healings? So they already are very instrumental across many medical areas right now, helping with humanity. That's where genetic engineering is coming from, CRISPR technology. new advances in what I say, deep brain stimulation. Not a doctor, but they're already very active on the planet right now, even with developing like forms of advanced algae that are going to help heal the oceans, so on and on. So actually, not the public is not aware of everything they're doing, but they're very active right now. 55, hello Sterling and team. 45 just asked the Supreme Court to allow mass federal employee layoffs. Will this happen? I see the Supreme Court actually upholding the stopping of mass federal layoffs. If it's like reduction in force, I don't know. But I see the Supreme Court upholding the stopping of it. So it looks like there's going to be kind of a holiday period here, if you will. It will start up towards the end of the year, but then again, it'll be stopped again. So by and large, it looks like this mass exodus or forced exodus for employees will eventually not take place. 54. Do your guides see the housing market in Florida collapsing by the end of this year? So we don't give you investment advice on these channels, but there's going to be a massive resurgence and a reorganization of Florida housing markets, if you will, due to many, many weather anomalies. And so it's going to be a very difficult period for the housing market in Florida, and will be as we get out into next year. Then it looks like for some reason there's something coming from the government, which I call like reinsurance companies. Insurance companies end up backing up insurance companies, and so that's going to sort of help level the playing field a little bit more. But we have a very difficult 12 to 18 months going forward here for housing in Florida. 53. Hello, Sterling. What are your thoughts on the COVID pandemic-based EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loans, federal loans given by the Small Business Administration during COVID? Will they ever be forgiven or partially forgiven? You know, I do see a lot of these loans are going to be modified. So they're going to stay in place, but be modified. That means extending payment terms, reducing some of the amount that's owed. So I see a reorganization, redevelopment around these loans that makes it, and a lot of this is going to happen around the beginning, early 2026. So that'll help a lot of individuals with these EIDL loans, disaster loans. 52. I'm curious to know if hybrids living among us are allowed to reproduce. Not for the time being. So that's not part of the overall Earth plan or extraterrestrial plan. Remember, a lot of hybrids are developed off planet Earth. They're developed aboard spaceships, extraterrestrial ships, in capsules. This is a hybrid biological engineering process. But when they come down to Earth, they're actually prevented from reproducing. So, and a lot of the access or integration to families comes through an adoption process. So the families aren't always aware that they've actually adopted a hybrid, but that's all part of the long-term plan for Earth to help Earth and help humanity on behalf of extraterrestrials. But once full disclosure is made here within a few years, it's already starting right now, the ground rules will change for hybrids. 51. Will Pete Buttigieg run for president? What will be his future impact on government? It appears he will eventually make it into the White House, but I'm seeing as vice president. I'm not seeing as president, but I'm seeing as vice president, but like a very effective vice president. 50. Will Kristi Noem be prosecuted and or imprisoned for her actions against immigrants and not following court orders after 45 leaves office? No, it appears she's going to evade justice, maybe tied up in a lot of court cases, but it'll always come back to like her acting on behalf of 45 and the 45 administration. It's almost like the 45 gave her all the reasoning to do it. So I see her evading strict justice or prison time. 49, is there a right or more accurate religion? Does everyone go to heaven regardless of their religion or lack of religion? So religion has nothing to do with your access to heaven. Let me repeat, religion has nothing to do with your access to heaven. Everybody goes to that dimension. Yes, you go through a life review. Remember, religion kind of springboarded off of a lot of angelic messages that were brought down to earth by many ascended masters. Humanity kind of messed with it a little bit, changed the meaning, but there is no more right or wrong religion. It's alignment with love in the universe and the one source, the one force that is of paramount importance. Okay? 48 was Grigory Rasputin, a Siberian peasant and mystic who gained significant influence over the Russian royal family in the early 20th century, a mad monk, or did he have some genuine insights into Russian royal family issues? He was a genuine teacher healer, but I see that he went way off the bounds of reality and actually then started using whatever he knew for personal gain or for politics. And I think that led to his eventual demise. So he went way off track, is what happened there. 47, will the Pleiadians give humanity spiritual practices that will help speed up spiritual evolution? They will not provide direct spiritual practices, but they will provide better access to the Akashic records for everybody. And by virtue of being able to see the Akashic records, you can understand humanity, your life path, your reincarnations, what the universe is about. That leads to a sense of spirituality, but then it's alignment with the one source, the one force. So extraterrestrials will not provide spiritual practices, but it's more deep understanding of what the universe is all about. 46 in the countdown. There are a lot of wildfires in Canada at the moment. Do you see any happening in northern Wisconsin this summer? I do. Based on the proximity to Canada, it looks like some more moderate wildfires are going to occur in this area. I don't see it being as detrimental as the Canadian fires, but looks like due to some of the unique climate patterns and proximity to Canada, there are some fires coming up for this area. 45, will there be a major solar flare or CME event that will wreak havoc on our primary infrastructure and utilities in the near future? The answer is partially yes, but remember, CME events or coronal mass ejections occur all the time. And it's all part of history. It's been happening for millions of years. They come in different degrees, right? However, the ones that say will knock out an entire network worldwide are really not coming. There are some that will knock out regional networks. That's true. And might knock out a network for a day or two or three. In the same way, some of these CME events will knock out satellite communications. Broadcast networks deal with this all the time. So it's not something that's going to generate a large-scale pulse that disrupts the entire Earth, but ongoing CME events. 44. How do miracles work within the universe and on Earth? Everybody comes together with a collective energy, and that collective energy produces a very massive, almost like a thunderbolt of good and love coming down to the Earth. So it's almost like everybody, if you think about like tug of war, you have a really strong team on one side, everybody's pulling really hard. Collectively, you can move the rope. So it's like a collective energy coming together to create a massive energetic pulse. Now, individuals can create miracles on their own by using the same principle, but it's a demonstration of like collectively bringing together that loving energetic force that exists. And it's almost like what I'll call manifesting on steroids. But a lot of people that come together produce that large, loving, energetic pulse. Everything's possible, by the way, if we just ask. 43. Will there be a cure in the near future for human papillomavirus, aka HPV, which is linked to cervical and other cancers and affects 42 million Americans currently? Yeah, and this gets back to, I think, one of the earlier viral questions, but within 10 years, you're going to see massive developments and offering of drugs on the market, genetically engineered based drugs, CRISPR technology. Remember, there are thousands of companies working on CRISPR technology, not just one. But it'll be the next super weapon against all viruses, including this one being asked for here. 42, if you're able to see and read Akashic records, are you allowed to see when and how you will die along with your family members? Yes, but it doesn't have the same effect. So if you're a practicing psychic medium, and you read that information or that information comes up, it doesn't have the same detrimental effect it might have on somebody that says it's not a practicing psychic medium. The reason sometimes for that is the broader understanding that life goes on. It really is an important distinction. I think that a lot of individuals think about death as finality, right? It's final. And the more you do spiritual work, the more you see the other side, the more you communicate with millions of entities on the other side. So you can see the information, but it doesn't have the same effect in terms like emotionally impacting you. Yes, we all miss people on a human basis, but you have to understand there is no birth, there is no death, it's just a continuum of life. 41, will NASA cuts be as deep as the White House desires? And additionally, will NASA's Space Launch System, SLS rocket program be canceled? I do see large cuts to NASA across three programs. I think Orion was one of them, and there's another one like a Lunar Gateway or something, plus this SLS program. There are three programs that'll be significantly impacted by NASA cuts. There are. Again, I see a lot of funding being restored as we get out into 2026. 40 in the countdown. We recently moved to New Mexico. We become stewards of quite a wonderful piece of land. I have been feeling or sensing that elementals, fairies, or nature beings are present. Is this possible? Yes, there are elementals all over the world, all over Earth, in particular in this area. They're stewards of the land. They watch over the land in those areas. 39. Hello, Sterling and team. Recently, I noticed that some people believe there's a correlation between numerology and your ET past lives. Can numerology be used to find out where your previous ET lives were? Well, so first of all, not everyone had extraterrestrial based past lives. Everyone came from a star system, a unique star system. That way, we're all star seeds. No, numerology doesn't provide any kind of a direct correlation between extraterrestrial, being or who you were in a lifetime as an ET or not. So there's no direct correlation. Because many people, believe it or not, the majority of the population has not had a lifetime as an extraterrestrial. They have come from other star systems. 38, how do people get jobs working with extraterrestrials? So you've already been selected as part of your life path. It's not something you change up when you're down here. And they're very serious. They're very intent oriented. So they're always task oriented. If you're working with extraterrestrials right now, you're already working to get the messaging out, working on world peace, free energy, you name it. But it's not something that you just really get a job working with extraterrestrials. It's already part of your life path. 37. Several times over the last 10 years, I've heard voices that sound like they're near me calling my name or saying hello, but there is no one there. Is this clairaudience? If so, how can I further develop it? When I've responded to the voices I've heard, I didn't get any more dialogue. So yes, in a way, this is all part of an expanding clairaudient gift, which we can all develop. We're all born with a clairaudient ability. But it does take practice. And up on our membership, we have instructional videos, and one calls out a simple 5-minute day homework you can do. It's not meditation, but you journal, and it takes 2 weeks to do the homework assignment. But this is all part, yes, of a clairaudient gift that's a burgeoning, that's coming, that's developing. But you do have to practice, much the same way any significant musician practices or artist practices every day or athlete. 36, will the U.S. housing market ever become realistic again so that average middle-class people can afford to buy a home? Will the government start regulating the housing market to make it more fair and more affordable? So no major changes for another 5 years, meaning that in order for things to get more equitable in terms of income, jobs, prices of housing, we've got about another 5 years to go here. It's an evolution, but it's not going to happen overnight. But I do see by about the year 2030, you're going to see a much more equitable match between income, availability, and affordable housing. 35. What is it like for suicides with mental illness like depression, bipolar, anxiety, schizophrenia Do they have to repeat this life? No, they don't have to repeat this life. However, you have a lot of free will on the other side. We always come down to experience certain lessons. If you feel you haven't really learned the lesson when you go through the life review, many times people will come back again another lifetime. You don't repeat the same life. It's always a different lifetime, but you may take some of the same lessons that you want to learn. That's very true. 34, the 45 administration just shut down over 100 Job Corps programs nationwide. What is the future of the Job Corps program and what will happen to all the students? So I see that the Job Corps program will be shut down and then reimagined out until like middle of 2026. For the time being, a lot of students or individuals involved in the Job Corps program are have to kind of rush around, find alternative housing. But the whole program is going to be reimagined. May not even call it the Job Corps. It'll fundamentally be kind of the same, but reimagined as we get out into summer of 2026. 33 are cold fusion energy reactors, nicknamed the artificial suns, going to allow the planet to heal from global warming and greenhouse gases. So yes, it's all part of the long-term plan. Cold fusion technology. You talk about fusion technology that's burning at the temperature of the sun, same kind of reactions that occur in the sun. But cold fusion does not give off the same kind of nuclear waste that other forms of nuclear energy give off. So yes, in that way, it's going to reduce greenhouse gases, reliance on petroleum, oil or petroleum-based products. So that's true. It's all part of a large-scale, long-term way that Earth is going to reestablish itself along with the help from a lot of extraterrestrial groups here. 32, there's a homeowners insurance crisis in the U.S. claimed to be the result of climate change catastrophes. The cost of policies is astronomical in some areas if coverage is available at all. What is the solution and when will this happen? So we touched on this. We're not going to see any significant change, let's say, in housing insurance, homeowners insurance, for about 2 years here. And that's because there's going to be a lot of reinsurers coming into play, some federal agencies, some not. But these are insurance companies that insure insurance companies. And in fact, they're like reinsurers. So there's going to be a way to kind of leverage and reduce some of the risk overall. I mean, new building, a lot of things are going to happen over the next 2 years, but it's going to take about that long for things to start to level out around the housing insurance here or homeowners insurance in these largely affected areas with major weather catastrophes like Florida. 31, on the day 45 is going to have his parade, June 14th. There's going to be a counter protest called No King's Day all over the country. Do you see it being as huge as people are hoping? Will it have a big ripple effect? You know, it'll have a large scale effect, but it's only one. I'm going to tell you about 1,000 different things are going to occur here in shifting the consciousness and the reality of the U.S. and the world. So just like the audits that are going on, the fact that EM is singing like a jailbird, these protests, all these things are instrumental in moving the needle forward, right? So all these are important. I'm even getting that the protest actually is going to have an effect on the Supreme Court. So something about helping to move certain things ahead in the Supreme Court. It's like they're observing what's happening with the population. So that's a good effect. 30, will Netanyahu be held accountable for the way Israel is treating the Palestinians? You know, I see a number of ICC or International Criminal Court cases moving forward, Netanyahu, but I don't see any prison time. So it looks like he's going to escape prison time, but he's going to have ICC court issues. It won't provide the satisfaction that a lot of people are looking for in terms of, say, retribution or some sort of an accounting for how he's handled things, but that is the way it's going to play out. 29, hello, Sterling and team. Even though animals are from the angelic realm, do they get to choose their life lessons before they reincarnate, just like human souls do? And can they choose to be different animals each time? Now a dog, later a cow, as part of their life lessons? So, yes, all animals design their unique human world experience, the alignment with certain families, what they come down as. There's a lot of interchange, by the way, between horses and dogs. Probably the most common interchange, horses coming down and then a dog this lifetime, or dog coming down, now a horse this lifetime. But they do shift species as in terms of the lessons they want to learn and the families they want to be around as part of their life path. 28. Can you tell me if Iowa voters will vote Joanie Ernst out after her death comment? Yes, I see a new challenger in the Iowa seat or Iowa Senate race. There's a new challenger that's going to end up winning. 27. What do ETs think of the organized religion and capitalism we have on this planet? Do they have similar society structures or something completely different? So they were very aware of the lack of development of humanity, and they don't have, let's say, capitalism, or they don't have strong alliance to religion. They have strong alliance to uniformity and to the one source, the one force, galactic federation. They do see things quite differently than Homo sapiens sapiens. Galactic Federation forms a very important role, and it's more than just government for extraterrestrials. It forms kind of a unification of humanity. So it's kind of a lot. It's almost, you can think of the Galactic Federation as a combination of like governmental effects and spiritual organization effects, because it provides a unified organization for a lot of extraterrestrial groups to kind of manage among themselves with a deeper understanding of what the universe is all about. 26. Will the very poor and disadvantaged regions of this planet have access to the amazing medical breakthroughs in the coming years, or will we continue to exist in a divided world where only the wealthy nations benefit from new technologies? So the entire planet will be given access to advanced medications, and this is all going to be rolled out. If you think about, again, genetic engineering, CRISPR technology, just one of many areas. Also, it could be a number of healing modalities, natural healing modalities are going to come into play. People are really going to get more connected to the other side and be able to do things like Reiki healing and different types of healing. But all this, the strict medical science and the new drugs coming out will be available worldwide eventually. You know, we've got a 10 to 20 year rollout period here in which medications have to be developed, mass produced, tested, but the entire world will have access to it. 25. The Hindu faith has so many deities and they appear to be very different, but at the same time similar. For example, their skin color, some are various shades of blue to yellow to the deepest, darkest blue and black. And many that I've seen have 2 arms and legs, while others may have more arms and legs and other distinct characteristics. Are they ETs? If so, will they appear with the other ETs? You spoke about bringing enlightenment to our planet. If not, who are they and where are they from? Yes, so these were in fact all extraterrestrial groups, and that's what was being seen by a lot of the Hindu faith, people around the Hindu religion. Worldwide, a lot of extraterrestrial groups show themselves in different ways, but yes, these are connected to extraterrestrial groups, and yes, this will all be explained very easily over the next couple of years here when full disclosure is made. 24. Sterling, I know people need to ask their guides for assistance, but can a person ask another person's guides to help them? Example, can I ask my spouse's guides to help him? Yes, all angels and guides cross-communicate very easily. So you can ask them just like you're dialing up a telephone and they will hear you. So yes, you can absolutely ask them for focus and for help. 23, may I ask if a cure for fibromyalgia will be found soon? Here again, this is all part within the next 10 years. I do see, actually, so within 10 years, this particular disease or problems that humanity is going to be correctable within about 10 years. Remember, there's a lot of what I call low-hanging fruit with certain diseases, neurological problems, immune system, cancers. That's the low-hanging fruit that's being developed right now around medical, around genetic engineering. And then as you get, say, 10 to 20 years from now, you're going to start seeing other types of diseases being addressed that may be a little more esoteric. 22, I know you rely on your angels and guides to help you answer questions and other things. Are there things that a psychic medium is just not meant to know? until you cross over, until you guide people until you guide people here on Earth. No, it's not the case with the teams that I work with. They're very open and direct and honest about information they share. It's all done in a way that helps humanity, move humanity forward. So I've not seen any limitations in the individuals or millions of entities that I work with on the other side. 21, rumors from China report that Xi has not appeared in public for extended periods of time and that he will be removed and replaced. Is this true? No, I don't see replacement happening anytime soon. It looks like he is actually still in good health, but laying low due to other global problems and threats. So it looks like he's laying low. 20. Will AI in the form of robots help care for senior citizens if they're no longer able to care for themselves? For example, would seniors be issued exoskeletons powered by AI to enable improved mobility and function? Would something like this also take care of administering medications, physical therapy, etc.? So yes, to all the above, and we're right on the cusp of a lot of these developments. If you think about Optimus, which is Tesla's Tesla bot, this is a good example of, in fact, robotics coming into play to help humanity, help with home health care, all these things. But, you could take, if you're not familiar with it, you could take a look at Optimus, which is the Tesla bot, and you'll see kind of we're on the cusp of a lot of this stuff starting to happen. And yes, it will be here. 19, hello, Sterling. I live in Southern California, have a strong pen pal relationship with a friend in Finland. We have not met in person. One night I found myself in her kitchen, seeing it in vivid detail and feeling as if I had her to-do list in my head. Moments later, I was home again. This was impossible, but she later described exactly what I had seen. What happened here? So you momentarily had an astral travel experience, and this is analogous like remote viewing. When you astral travel, you can also remote view. Astral travel refers to kind of the broader definition of the soul disconnecting from the human body, but this is a form of remote viewing, very common. 18. Is 45 aware of the anonymous group, and is he overly cautious regarding the information they are about to release? Yes, he's fully aware of the information that they have. He knows exactly implicitly what's going to be released. He's preparing for it in terms of exit strategies and ways to combat it. But yes, what's coming out from Anonymous will actually support a lot of the electronic election interference my angelic team has been talking about now ever since November of 2024. 17, hello, Sterling. Can you read on if Governor Newsom will end up cutting the state's IHSS, in-home supportive services? This pays for people taking care of people who can't take care of themselves. If so, when will actually get cut, and will it come back? If so, when? I do see cuts being made to this program, but they appear to be very specific, like the number of hours that can be used. So let's say not 60 hours, but 40 hours of support, maybe reimbursement for travel time. So I'm getting these are very like surgical cuts that will end up kind of coming back, be restored as we get out into the middle of 2026. I do see the cuts coming, but they look very surgical and maybe not as impactful as maybe some are concerned about. 16, there are rumors circulating that billionaires are building underground bunkers to prepare for an apocalypse in 2027, that humans are on borrowed time. Is this true that an apocalypse is imminent in 2027? Well, first off, yes, many billionaires are building underground bunkers in Hawaii, other parts of the world. We see this all the time. No, there's not an apocalypse coming 2027. In fact, I don't see an apocalypse coming for Earth for thousands of years. Looks like it's, that's actually part and part what the extraterrestrial groups are preventing right now. So yes, they're building underground bunkers. Do not see an apocalypse coming in 2027. Are my team saying or any future year? 15, will 45 pardon P. Diddy? If so, will it ever be overturned when 45 leaves office? I do see, according to my groups, that P. Diddy will be pardoned by 45, and it looks like that pardon will stand. So even after 45 is gone, for some reason, it looks like that pardon still stands. 14, what type of proteins and foods do extraterrestrials consume, factory made or animal products? So the major portion of all proteins consumed by extraterrestrials is lab grown. So lab grown meats and different types of even vegetables, or you think about beans or other things with proteins, they're all lab grown, okay? 13, Mark Rutte met with congressional members with evidence. He's also met with 45. Is he helping or interfering with accountability? He's actually directly contributing to worldwide global accountability for 45 and what's going on with voter interference worldwide, not just the US. 12. The 6-ton altar stone at Stonehedge was recently confirmed to have originated in the Orcadian Basin in northeastern Scotland, which is about 435 miles away from Stonehenge. Can you say which ET group was involved in the creation of Stonehenge, such as a spiritual place of great significance? This was actually one of many projects orchestrated by the Palladian Group, and they used anti-gravity technology, even handheld anti-gravity technology, to move many stones, like this particular stone being talked about here. 11, will 45 be exposed for involvement with Jeffrey Epstein in addition to election fraud and treason? Yes, this is actually all part of the information coming forward right now, real time as we speak, from various groups, including Anonymous and EM, and you're going to see a lot of this unfold like a movie. It's all going to unfold just like a movie. 10, what causes aphantasia, the inability to visualize? Is it physical, spiritual, or karmic? Is there a treatment? How could one become clairvoyant without the ability to visualize? So clairvoyance, the ability to be able to see, is just one of the 8 clairs, and it actually occurs what I call in the creative mind center of the brain. So there is actually no direct correlation here. You actually can still develop the clairvoyant gift. Now, remember, not everybody has all 8 clairs. There's always some clairs that are stronger. But I wouldn't correlate this particular aphantasia with an inability or ability to be clairvoyant. It's actually part of your life path. So if you're meant to develop it, you'll still be able to develop it even with this medical condition, and I'm not a doctor. 9, hello, Sterling and team. How will Texas fare now that EM has his own town on the coast for SpaceX? I know he's already had a compound for a long time in this area. We're talking about Texas here. And it looks like he's going to have a home base in that location for like 20 years to me. So long time. Remember, he's going to try to bounce around the world to evade any kind of disruption or imprisonment or any implication into what happened in election interference, electronic election interference. But it looks like this is an ongoing situation. We were asked the question, this something's been in process for a long time, and EM will continue to be there for a long time. 8, when will legislation be introduced to stop health insurance companies from denying coverage for medically necessary treatments, medications, diagnostics, and screenings based on cost? When insurers make these decisions to doctors, they're essentially practicing medicine without a license. This often results in undiagnosed conditions, delayed care, worsening health, serious harm to patients, and even death. So this is all being driven by cost guidelines. And over the next few years here, you're going to see a very strong integration of artificial intelligence technology being used for diagnostics. So much more rapid determination of cause, effect, and that's going to help create better diagnostics and actually decrease some of the costs for insurance companies because they'll be able to anticipate long-term illnesses before they start. So there's a little bit of a recost alignment going on here with the integration of artificial intelligence technology around this particular problem. 7, Well, CRISPR gene editing technology allow those with major cardiovascular blockages and issues to clean out clogged arteries and allow arteries to function normally. If so, how far away are we from these advances? So, major advances actually in this area within the next 5 years in terms of cardiovascular drugs being developed here to help clean out arteries. And it looks like widespread mass availability within 5 to 10 years. So it's all coming. It's all part of genetic engineering. But yes, so it's all going to happen. 6, since 45 is handing out pardons like McDonald's Happy Meals, do you see the pardons being revoked? Specifically, the ones he gave Todd and Julie Chrisley, and the one he may be giving P. Diddy. No, I don't see any of these pardons being revoked. For some reason, they're still going to stand. For some legal reason, they're still going to stand. 5, will there be a viable non-surgical cartilage replacement or injectable available in the near future for people with knee and hip arthritis issues? Right now, joint replacement surgery is the only option, and it's invasive with a long-term recovery. This particular development is about 15 years away, 1-5, using genetic engineering. So there's something here with the reversal of this condition, rebuilding of the cell structure, but it's about 15 years out. We're going to start to see this come onto the market based on genetic engineering. Number 4, did the extraterrestrials intervene to help shut down or contain the nuclear disasters at Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, and Fukushima? 100% correct. This is exactly how they interact with humanity and the Earth to help safeguard humanity. 100% true. And actually, there's lots of images and photographs of extraterrestrial craft around these areas during the time of these incidents. Now down to number 3, 2, and 1 in the countdown. I always take notes before I start these shows, so I'll share those with you directly here. Number 3, do your extraterrestrial friends have anything they want to share? We are entering a period this year that will be much more active to squelching violence in the world, which includes disarming major military actions to prevent large-scale escalations of wars in the world. Stay tuned. 2, what do you see coming up this week? New information relative to the electronic election interference in the 2024 elections process, as well as 2 more states announcing voting audits of the 2024 election. New revelations by EM in regards to behind-the-scenes strategy by 45's administration to ruin the U.S. economy and destabilize the world order. Very interesting. New revelations that Putin's and 45's health are on the same decline. Number 1 in the countdown. Do you have anything your guides want to share? Trust your inner guidance and use this as your internal radar in life. It will never let you down. On that note, that concludes the show being recorded on Saturday, June 7th, 2025. Posted to all media platforms worldwide, Sunday, June 8th, 2025. As always, if you want to join our Platinum membership, access to hundreds of videos, as well as live streaming where I answer questions, a plethora of questions on Fridays. You can join our Platinum membership and the join buttons on the front page of the YouTube channel, as well as our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. On that note, I'm going to send out a lot of goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I will see you all again very soon.